Okay, I'm going to teach the session I had planned. It's on record. It'll be on the Sweat and Milk YouTube. So hopefully everyone else can catch it on there. Hi, welcome. And make sure you have your long stretchy band or a towel or a yoga strap and a set of dumbbells. Okay, let's start down on the mat in 4-point kneeling. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And we're going to inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, engaging those deep core muscles. So inhale. As you exhale, you're going to lift the pelvic floor, zip it up, and you're going to draw your belly button up towards your spine, okay? So drawing your tummy up towards your low back, trying to engage those deep core muscles. Inhale, release pelvic floor and core. Exhale, zip, lift the pelvic floor, drawing the tummy up to the spine. Wrapping, feeling like you're wrapping your core. Inhale, release. Exhale, draw up. I'll let you see my little belly bump. So you can see that on the exhale, I'm really drawing up, okay? Trying to switch on those deep abdominal muscles. 2 more. Inhale, release. Exhale, draw up. Last one. Inhale, release. Exhale, draw up. Good. That is the #1 exercise for those deep core muscles, okay, with that breath. Cat-cow stretch. Inhale, exhale, tuck the tailbone under, curving the whole spine. Inhale, exhale into that reverse. Inhale, exhale, tuck the tailbone, curve the whole spine, push the floor away, separate your shoulder blades so you get that lovely stretch in that upper mid-back where you might be super tight from nursing. Inhale, exhale, reverse into that nice arch. Last one. Inhale, exhale. Big scoop, big curve. Inhale, exhale. And then finding your neutral spine. And we're going to twist the spine. Let me check one more time. No one else is in the waiting room, super quick. So they're not waiting. No, still just UK. I hope you can hear me. I'm going to do the whole thing for you. At least you can follow along with visuals. Okay, let's twist our spine. Inhale, pick up your right hand. Exhale, bend your left elbow, twisting the spine so you get lovely rotation. Hips stay nice and high. And then untwisting, you're going to open that right hand up to the sky, open through the chest. And then again, inhale, exhale, and just make this, I don't know where you are in your postpartum journey, so you know, all of these movements, you make them as small or as big as feels good in your movement. If you feel any pulling around, especially if you had a C-section, pulling around the scar area, just be gentle, move smoothly, slowly. Last one on this side. If you've got a diastasis recti, if you're feeling any bulging, coning, popping in any of the movements, make movements smaller, more controlled. Good, pop that right hand down, pick up your left hand, bending that right elbow, twisting, reaching through. We're really rotating, twisting our spine. It should feel pretty good. It gets pretty stiff in especially early stages postpartum. You don't get a lot of this lovely rotational work for the spine. Let's take 2 more on this side. Exhaling, bending that right elbow, feeding that left hand through, twisting the spine, the hips are staying high. And then opening up. And then let's pop that hand down under the shoulder. So we're going to stretch the legs behind us, working from those deep tummy muscles again. So inhale, like we did at the beginning, exhale, drawing the tummy up to the spine, stretching that right leg behind you and lifting. Okay, as you lift, don't lift it so high that the low back arches. Okay, lower, draw the tummy up to the small of the back. You're using those deep core muscles to lift that leg. Inhale to slide it back in. Just find your flow here. Exhale, second leg. Drawing the tummy up to the spine to lift that leg. Square hips. Inhale, draw it back in. Exhale, lengthen and lift that right leg. Inhale, draw it back in. Really coming from those deep tummy muscles, okay? So just find a pace that you can find that connection to control the movement. There's no point in just whacking the leg up and not controlling it from that deep core. If you want to add an opposite arm in, you can. It's obviously more challenging. If that's a little bit wobbly, just stick with the leg. Take a few more reps at your own pace. Nice square hips. The leg that is lifting, make sure that hip stays facing down to your mat, okay? It's not lifting up, square hips. And then finishing off last rep, make sure you've evened your sides. Good. We're going to come off our arms and shoulders. We're going to come onto our back. Just double check one more time that no one's super, super late. No, we're all good. Let's keep moving. So lying on your back now. Okay, back to a really good quality deep core movement here. So lying on your back, your knees are bent, your feet are in line with your sit bones. And your low back, if you can see my low back here, I'm going to press it into the mat, okay? So from those deep tummy muscles, pop your hands onto your tummy, breathe in. As you breathe out, draw your belly button down to the mat to press your small of your back into the mat to imprint it in. And that's coming from those deep core muscles, okay? Feel free to pop your hands on there and try and feel that activation in those lower tummy muscles. Keeping that low back imprinted in. We're going to find our tabletop knees. Exhale, draw one knee in. Inhale, exhale, draw that second knee in. Tabletop. Okay, inhale, you can keep your hands on your tummy actually if it's helpful. Exhale, tapping a toe towards the floor. Don't worry if you don't touch all the way. Inhale, come back up. Alternate the toe. Exhale. Inhale. And this is coming from those deep core muscles, okay? So as you exhale to tap that toe, I want you to really try and feel the tension under your fingertips of the lower tummy muscles particularly, which are always much weaker postpartum. So we've got to get that connection going again to those lower fibers of the abdominals, drawing them down towards the mat. Okay, to keep that back nice and still. The back shouldn't be popping away from the floor. And have a little check higher up your core as well. Okay, so bring the fingers up towards the belly button area. And you want to feel like this kind of wrapping sensation as you exhale, wrapping the abdominals, knitting them together. Belly button drawing downwards. If you've got a DR, if you have a DR, feel like you're really knitting those two outer sides of the abdominals together and then drawing the navel down. On that exhale. Last one, just even up your sides. Good, just hug those knees in. That was quite a lot of reps of that because I wanted to talk to you about those abdominals. We're going to take a glute bridge. Feet are on the floor. Your heels are in line with your sit bones, okay? Rolling up to our shoulders. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out. Tuck your pelvis. So tucking, moving your pubic bone towards your belly so you scoop under. Press through the heels, squeeze your glutes. Zip your pelvic floor up. Lift your hips, lift your low back, mid back, upper back, all the way up to the shoulders in that full bridge. Breathe in at the top. Breathe out to wheel back down. So see if you can get the top of your back on the mat first, then use your belly button to bring that mid back down, and then use your lower abs to get the back of the pelvis down, okay? So we're using the deep core to move our spine. It's hard work. Exhale, press through the heels, squeeze the glutes, zip the pelvic floor up, lift the hips, low back, mid back, upper back to the shoulders. Inhale at the top. Exhale, wheeling down. So think of using the top of the core muscles to get the top of the back down, belly button down to mid back, lower core down to pelvis. Just let the next two flow a bit more. Exhale up to the shoulders. Inhale to hold. Exhale to wheel down. And one more. Make sure those knees are staying in line with the hips. Exhale to wheel up. Let's stay up in that bridge, okay, if it feels okay. If not, you can come down and rest. And we're just going to lower the hips a tiny bit and then press through the heels and re-squeeze the glutes to lift back up higher. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift. I'm going to move my arms out the way so you can see my hips even better. You are also welcome to lift your arms or leave them on the floor. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Good. 5 more. 5. And 4, zip up that pelvic floor, wrapping that core. Last 2, last 1, and then lower down. Good. Really switch those glutes on. Well done. Rolling over onto your right side. let's just activate those side glute hip muscles. Super important postpartum. So knees are bent. We're going to take a clam if you've ever done them. Knees are bent, feet are in line with your bum, butt is in line with your spine. So straight line through the spine and pelvis. Hips are stacked. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, open that top knee, wrapping out at the hip. Inhale to close. Hand can be on the hip. Hand could be lightly on the floor. Exhale to open. Inhale to close. So you're feeling that kind of wrapping out at the hip joint here as you open that knee in that rotation. Inhale to close. And 4. A little bit of deep core, even though we're now focusing here, everything always comes from here, okay? We want to learn to initiate the control of every movement from here. So drawing the tummy in towards the spine with that exhale as you open your knee. 4 more here. 4. And 3. Last 2. And 1. Good. Let's lift the feet up and do the same thing with the feet lifted. Okay, so you just lifted both those feet up. A little bit less stable. You might want that hand there. It might be okay here. 2. Really rotating out. 3. Getting all of those medial glute hip muscles waking up. And 4. And 5. And 6. Don't worry if you're not with me. You always find your own pace in all of these movements. Always at a pace that you can control your form. Pelvis shouldn't be moving. Last one. 10. Good. Taking those 2 clams on the second side. So first set with the feet down. Second set with the feet lifted. Okay, so you're coming onto your hand here. You can go down there if that's more comfortable. Knees are bent. Feet are in line with your pelvis. Pelvis in line with spine. Top hip over bottom hip. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, tummy into spine as you open that top knee. Inhale to close. Exhale to open. Inhale to close. As you open that knee, don't let the hip rock back. Okay, so hip stays stacked over bottom hip. All just happening in the joint and the muscles around the side of the glute and hip. And 5. You've got 10. And 6. Drawing in here, 7. Each time, every time. Tummy in towards spine. Last 2. So basically, whatever exercise you're doing, if you're using that exhale to draw your tummy into your spine, you're getting deep core work every single exhale you take. And 10. Lifting the feet, 10 more. And 2. Hopefully you're feeling this here. And 3. And 4. These muscles get really weakened through pregnancy as the pelvis stretches and the posture changes. And we really have to work on reactivating them, re-strengthening them postpartum. Good. If you're with me, this is 8. Resting at 10. And 9. And 10. Good, lovely. We're going to come up to standing and finish with 2 weighted exercises. Let's come up through a downward dog stretch. It feels great for the hamstrings. So in your 4-point kneeling, and then you can tuck your toes, lift the knees, push back into that downward facing dog. Do not worry if your legs don't stretch. In fact, let's paddle through those heels, pushing one heel down at a time, getting a nice calf stretch, breathing. Have that feeling of scooping up through those lower abdominals. Okay, so kind of belly back to spine like I've been talking about. Pushing the floor away. Let's press both heels towards the floor. Don't worry if your knees are bent here. Hips nice and high. Looking back towards your ankle joints. One more big breath there. Legs are just as straight as you can here. It depends how tight those hamstrings are. Bend your knees. Walk your hands back to your feet. And you're just going to roll up nice and slowly. Okay, so kind of restacking your spine. Pelvis on top of thigh bones, low back, mid back, upper back, neck, head. While I'm standing here, quick check on that postpartum posture. You might find you're hanging out here still quite a lot postpartum, which is really common after all those postural changes in pregnancy. Okay, so we're going to try and find that neutral pelvis, okay? So rather than sticking the butt out, which makes it really hard to engage the deep core muscles, and it puts a lot of pressure on our low back, and then it changes the rest of our posture. You're going to think of tucking under. So think of moving your pubic bone to your belly button, or moving your sit bones to face the floor. Okay, so there's your neutral pelvis, and then the spine is just stacked on top of there. You see that difference? It's quite easy to see it on me now that I'm pregnant, actually. There's kind of like a common pregnancy, early postpartum posture. And I'm going to go from there to there. And can you see how much easier it is to engage the deep core? Good, I thought that was a useful check. Grab one dumbbell. Let's take one set of squats, weighted squats. So your dumbbell is to your chest. The reason I'm adding this dumbbell is because when you hold that dumbbell to your chest, you're going to want to round those shoulders. You're not going to let that happen. You're going to keep squeezing an imaginary hand in between your shoulder blades to keep this open posture at the top of your spine. Okay, feet can go nice and wide. You can turn out ever so slightly so it's more comfortable in the hips, especially postpartum when hips are a bit achy. Inhale, sit back into a chair. The knees are tracking over the toes. Exhale, press through the heels. Lift the pelvic floor, engage the core. Okay, so inhale, sit back into a chair, keep the chest high, shoulders open, squeeze that hand. Exhale, press through the heels, squeeze the glutes, zip up that pelvic floor. Inhale and exhale. And 4. So every time you stand, just keep moving, ladies. Every time you stand, you are zipping and lifting up your pelvic floor, drawing your tummy into your spine on the exhale. Inhale. Exhale, good. Keep squeezing that hand in between your shoulder blades. Keep those shoulders open. Inhale, exhale. Good, 5 more. And 4. Lift that pelvic floor up, squeeze those glutes, draw that tummy into the spine. Let's go 2 more. Last one. Good, lovely. We're going to take a set of bent over rows, okay? Always good to have lots of postural back work strengthening postpartum. The back muscles become a little weak and tight from all the sitting, all the feeding, postural changes. So dumbbell in each hand, feet are hip width. Take a soft bend to the knees, stick the butt back, elongate the spine. We're coming to about 45 degrees. So not all the way to a flat back, a little bit higher than that. Make sure you draw that tummy up to the spine the whole time, drawing that belly back towards the low back. Palms are facing each other. Dumbbells are under the shoulders. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, draw those elbows straight back. Squeeze that hand in between your shoulder blades. Inhale to release. Exhale, row. Inhale, release. And 3. Find your own pace. Don't worry if you're not with me. 4. Keep those elbows tight into the body. Okay, they're kind of grazing the sides of your body each time you row them back. Shoulders away from ears. Really switching on those mid-back muscles, those postural muscles. Good. This is 10. We're going to try 5 more if it feels okay. Feel anything in the low back, rest. Keep drawing that tummy up to the spine. Okay, even though this is a back exercise, that core has to work for us. Last 3. And 2. And 1. Good. Rest. Well done. Put those dumbbells down. Let's have a very quick stretch for a few minutes if you've got time. Coming down to a kneeling position. Have your band within reaching distance, or your towel or your yoga strap. Let's stretch the hips. They get so tight in pregnancy too, but postpartum, I remember. So right knee's on the floor, left foot is in front of you, foot in line with hip. Inhale. Exhale, just sinking into that hip stretch, nice and simple. That knee's tracking straight over the toes, just breathing into that hip. In this hip stretch, make sure you're not kind of overarching that back, okay? So try and just think of sucking under a bit, pubic bone to belly button. You'll feel that becomes more intense in the hip. Breathe. If you've been sitting, baby holding, nursing, lots, his hips are probably feeling quite tight. So let's just stretch them out, breathe. 2 more big breaths here. Last big breath. And then carefully come out of it slowly. Second side, so left knee is on the mat. Right foot is forward in line with the hip. Inhale, exhale, sink into that hip. Just breathing. Always using that lovely long exhale in whatever stretch you're doing to feel like you're kind of releasing and sinking more into that stretch. 2 more big breaths there. Last big breath. Good. Carefully come out of that. We're going to come onto your back. We're going to stretch your glutes and your hamstrings to finish. Make sure that band's within reaching distance, but let's start with the glutes. Roll yourself down carefully. Knees are bent. Pop that right foot over the left thigh. Open up that right knee. Hands behind the back of the thigh. Interlock the fingers. Lifting that left foot off the floor, pulling the thigh towards you. Breathing. You can use this right elbow to push this right knee open as you're pulling the left thigh towards you, if you want to. That makes it more intense, so you don't have to. Try and keep your butt down on the mat, okay? If you let it lift up like this, it deactivates the stretch a bit. Lovely deep breaths. Hopefully feeling this here in that right glute and hip area, especially after those clams. So just as important to stretch out these areas that we're strengthening as well. We want our muscles to be balanced, which means they need to be strong and also flexible and mobile and supple. Good, and gently release away. We're going to swap sides, so right foot to the floor, left foot over the right thigh, pushing open that left knee gently, hands behind that right thigh, interlock the fingers, right foot comes off the floor. If your hips are super, super, super tight, which is fairly common postpartum, you might find if you're at the very beginning of your journey, you can't even get that foot off, which don't panic if that's the case. I have seen it before in clients. You can just leave that foot down. And even this here might be a stretch for you. Okay, and then you're going to work eventually towards this. You can also use the wall. So this right foot could be on a wall, you know, so you've got support. A few more breaths there on the second side. If your hips are that tight, then I suggest you try and do this most days if possible. You can squeeze it in. Good, gently release. Let's stretch those hamstrings to finish. So grab your long stretchy band. If you don't have your long stretchy band, a long towel. So left leg is going along the floor in line with the hip, right foot's going into that band or towel or maybe yoga strap. Okay, and then stretching that leg. Let's do a couple of bends and stretches just to ease into it. Stretch, one more bend. Stretch and hold that straight leg. Okay, so as straight as you can. And I'd rather that leg be lower down and straight than whacking it higher and bending, because we want to get that extension behind the knee and that length through that hamstring. And just breathing into that. Using a nice long exhale to try and release into it. Two more big breaths here. Last big breath. And then release that leg away. Let's swap that left leg in. Left foot into the band or towel or strap. Right leg goes all the way along the floor, in line with your hip. And then let's bend and stretch. Bend and stretch. One more time. Bend and stretch. Good. Holding that straight leg, wherever that is for you. Don't worry if it's down here. Okay, just holding that leg where you can straighten it, where you can find that length behind the back of the knee, that length extension through the hamstring. Again, hamstrings can be super tight postpartum. If you think about those postural changes that happen in the pelvis and the low back in pregnancy, which take a while to fix, that has a knock-on effect through the tightness of the hamstrings, the glutes, and the low back muscles. So lots of hamstring stretching. Last big breath. And release. Good. Hug those knees into your chest. Just bring yourself to sitting. Just going to finish with that over the head stretch to open up your chest. So sit however's comfortable, cross legs, legs away from you. Take your long band or your strap or your towel. Hold it super wide as you need to, because we're going all the way over the head. Lift it above your head, above your shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, taking it all the way over so your hands can be even wider than mine, as wide as you need to. And we're just going to breathe there for a few breaths. Inhale. Exhale. If you do have the stretchy band on that exhale, let it pull you a little bit if you can. Hopefully feeling this stretch in the chest, the pecs, the shoulders. Such a nice one to open you up if you've been doing tons of sitting, baby wearing, nursing. 2 more big breaths there. Last big breath. And release that band or towel. Inhale, roll those shoulders up. Exhale, roll them down. One more time. Inhale, roll those shoulders up. Exhale, roll them down. Well done. Thank you so much for joining. Super small class. Well done, Kay. You made it to the end. Awesome. Well done. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for more classes in July. So they'll be posted on the Sweat and Milk socials and my socials. And if anyone has a burning question, let me know. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day and take care. Bye. Thank you, Lucy. Bye. Thank you, Kay.